What if I told you that inside the grandeur of the royal palace, a scandal was brewing, one so shocking, it threatened to shake the monarchy at its very core? This is not a rumor whispered in a corner. This is a story unfolding before the world's eyes, with Queen Camilla at its center. The coronation was meant to be a moment of unity, a celebration of continuity. But for those watching closely, something was terribly off. As King Charles made his way down the aisle of Westminster Abbey, the crowd bowed, curtsied, and applauded with reverence. And yet, when Queen Camilla followed, nothing. Not a single head dipped. Not a single gesture of respect. The silence was louder than any words. To the untrained eye, it may have looked like an oversight. But to insiders, it was a calculated move, a symbolic protest. A signal that even among her own court, Camilla's favor was crumbling. But the question is why? What could have caused such a dramatic shift in loyalty at the very moment she was meant to step into history as queen? As whispers spread through the palace walls, one word kept resurfacing: betrayal. Allegations of a secret affair with a former royal aide, someone whose connection to Camilla stretches back decades. If true, this wasn't just scandalous. It was explosive, and that was only the beginning. Because soon, more shocking ties and mysterious disappearances would bring Camilla's name under even greater scrutiny. In this series, we uncover the hidden story behind Queen Camilla's fall from grace, the silent protests, the whispered betrayals, and the dramatic consequences that could change the monarchy forever. Stay with me, because what comes next will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the royal family. The whispers of betrayal began quietly, almost too quietly to take seriously. But the palace has its own way of amplifying secrets. A single rumor becomes a murmur, and a murmur becomes a storm. By the time the tabloids caught wind, the allegation had already reached the ears of King Charles himself. The accusation was devastating. Camilla, the woman he had once risked everything for, accused of betraying him with a man who had long been lurking in the shadows of royal history. The whispers said it wasn't just an affair, but an ongoing connection with a royal aide who knew her better than anyone else. For Charles, this was more than betrayal. It was humiliation. And in the monarchy, appearances matter as much as truth. Which raises the question, was it scandal, or was it sabotage? Behind the gilded doors of Buckingham, insiders say the tension was unbearable. Charles, known for his restrained demeanor, erupted in private meetings. Staff members were allegedly dismissed, senior aides reshuffled, and whispers of damage control dominated hushed conversations. Camilla, once the steady partner by his side, suddenly looked isolated. Her expressions in public seemed strained, her smiles forced. Every appearance was scrutinized, every glance, every gesture, every silence. And yet, there was still no official statement. Only one thing was clear: the bond between the king and his queen was fracturing before the world's eyes. But the scandal didn't stop at betrayal. There was another layer, darker, more unsettling. The name Camilla began surfacing in connection with the mysterious disappearance of priceless royal heirlooms. A brooch from the late queen's private collection, a necklace said to be worth millions, items vanishing without explanation. Was it coincidence? Was it mismanagement? Or was it something far more deliberate? The public didn't know, but speculation spread like wildfire. The press began drawing dangerous parallels: a queen accused of both betrayal and secrecy, with no clear defense. The palace's silence only fueled the fire. As pressure mounted, the monarchy's age-old strategy, dignified silence, seemed no longer sustainable. Public confidence began to waver. Polls showed declining support for Camilla, with some even questioning her fitness to remain at Charles's side. Commentators on national television debated openly what once could never be spoken: should the king reconsider his marriage? For an institution built on tradition and stability, such discussions were unthinkable. And yet, they were happening. Camilla, once secured as queen consort, was suddenly vulnerable, standing on the edge of a precipice. The breaking point came not through an official statement, but through the images that flashed across the world. Cameras captured a visibly furious Charles in a rare moment of public anger. The man who had endured decades of media storms finally broke his composure. Reports say the confrontation had been brewing for weeks, and that Camilla herself had been warned of consequences should the allegations prove true. When the moment came, there was no soft handling. She was escorted from the palace in what insiders describe as a forced exit. The symbolism could not have been stronger: royalty stripped of its security, dignity fractured before the world. For Camilla, the fall was brutal. From Queen of England to the subject of headlines that screamed betrayal, scandal, and disgrace. For Charles, the cost was equally heavy. The man who had fought decades for his marriage was now left to confront the monarchy's most uncomfortable truth, that love and duty can never coexist easily under the weight of the crown. What followed was a palace in chaos. Legal advisors summoned, senior royals consulted, and the press kept at bay with vague statements about family matters. And yet, the story doesn't end with scandal. It leaves us with deeper questions. Was Camilla truly guilty, or was she a victim of palace politics, targeted by those who never wanted her as queen in the first place? Was the so-called affair real, or a convenient narrative to explain a larger power struggle within the monarchy? And if the disappearance of royal jewels was not coincidence, then who stood to gain from framing the queen? In the shadows of tradition and loyalty, there are always hidden players, unseen motives, and dangerous games. What remains certain is this: the monarchy has entered uncharted territory. The image of unity projected during the coronation has been shattered, and the crown itself feels more fragile than ever before. Queen Camilla's downfall, whether by betrayal, conspiracy, or both, has changed the course of royal history. The question now is not only about her fate, but about the monarchy's survival in the face of scandal after scandal. Because if the palace walls could speak, they would tell us one chilling truth: power never comes without sacrifice. And sometimes, that sacrifice is the very person who fought hardest to belong. Stay tuned, because what comes next may be the greatest royal twist of all.